Hey, welcome back to my Daily Dose with Tim. Today is Season 1, Episode 26. That means we've officially finished 5 weeks of my Daily Dose with Tim. Thank you so much for supporting me, for letting me know that this is helping you in some ways, and that's really all I wanted to do. And based on a lot of your feedback over the last few weeks, I've decided to give you everything that I know and what I do on a daily basis. And the funny thing is, I always joke with my students is that I don't know everything. However, I am always willing to share everything I know with you, and that's what it really comes down to. And I'm also a lifelong student. I'm learning as I go every single day, and as you guys can see today, I'm going to be leveraging one of the graphs that I did just last week as well, because a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about really is continuous in the sense that we got to continue to build upon everything that we've touched on as well. And so I just want to let you know, as you guys probably are aware already, and it's on my Facebook personal page banner too, is that I do this 5 times a week, Monday to Friday, kind of like a daily talk show, if you will. And I know not every one of you is watching this real time, and so for those of you who always are joining me live, I thank you, appreciate you for making the time and for joining me. And for a lot of you, I know you're always watching this because it's kind of crazy to look back already. Just in 25 short episodes, there's been thousands and thousands of views already, and I've got tons of messages from you. And so I want to give you an idea in terms of what's coming up, because we're starting a brand new week. However, we are definitely staying on the topic of financial education, using real estate investing strategies, as well as business mindsets too. So over the last week, since I got started down this path with you, what I've gotten back is I actually make notes, by the way. So I need to remind myself in terms of everything that you've told me about is some of the topics a lot of you want me to touch on. And just so you know, a lot of the things that I'm talking about, I'm really leveraging heavily upon my personal experiences and the experiences of others around me too. So from time to time, you hear me say things like, this is not just applicable in the Canadian market, it's not just for Canadians, this is also applicable for our American friends as well. And I just realized I didn't turn off my ringer. I'm sorry about that. See, this is live. How much more live can we get than this? And so the other thing is, a lot of this is also applicable across the pond as well, over into the UK. And I know I understand and remember a little bit about how things operate in the land down under. And so if it's applicable or it's universally applicable, I would definitely mention that. However, for the most part, I want to let you know that a lot of this is really heavily based on the Canadian content. But, well, money is money, business is business, and how you run things, honestly though, I find that 99% of the times, really, it's universally applicable. So I just want to let you know that. So a lot of topics you guys want me to touch on would be, hey, can we do a quick strategy planning session? And so in that, what I mean is I will basically show you how you can create either financial independence or financial freedom for yourself, leveraging the strategies that you could be doing as well. And some of you guys going, because I know it's a mixed bag of viewers right now. A lot of you guys are a bit more seasoned. A lot of you are fairly new or novice, or you just kind of want to get a bit of an overview of a glossary. So some of you are mentioning, hey, can we go over some of the common terms so that when we're talking about stuff like this, because I think a lot of you are starting to sense that I talk pretty fast. I speak pretty fast when I'm going over things like this, because I'm always looking and making a fair effort in attempting to wrap each of these sessions up in about 10 to 15 minutes. However, there's just so much that keeps coming out because I've been doing this for so long myself and teaching others. I really just want to paint that picture fully for you. And so I'm definitely learning how to streamline the content, or really just honing in on one concept at a time. So common terms, I'll definitely cover that as well. And one thing that I keep mentioning, and especially it rattles the cages for a lot of you guys that are in major urban markets like LA, markets like New York, Chicago, Seattle, Vancouver and Shanghai and Hong Kong and Toronto and London. You're all like, Oh my God! So why not condos and why not pre-sale? So that's definitely something that we will be addressing as well. And also, I want to dig a little bit more into private lending. And a lot of you guys are already on the boot camp right now, and so I probably won't dig too much into that. However, it is a request by some of you as well. And so this is usually my teaching philosophy: is that if I get the same request more than twice, chances are a lot more of you probably have the same questions or have the same inquiries or requests. You just haven't maybe had the chance to communicate that with me too. So I want to make sure that I honor all these, and in a way, it's really good because I really want this to be more interactive, even though it's just virtual right now still. And so some of the other ones are who should be on the power teams and why, and how do you work with them? What's creative financing? I'm going to show you some examples there, and the offer making process, because we always say, hey, you know what, how much money can you make on the offers that you've never made? Well, the answer of that is zero. And so a lot of you, especially if you're new to this, and even if you're not new to this, the whole point is that sense of fear is always going to be there. I remember when I was buying my first property at $250,000 almost a decade ago now at this point as an investment property. I was like, okay, I'm a little nervous about this. And then 350, and then 450, 500, 800, a million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million. You still go through that process of having to overcome that and making that offer. Sometimes it's like picking up that pen to sign it, or, well, if you're doing everything digitally now, it just seems like it's so hard because you got to overcome your own fears to get through it, and that's totally fine. So we're going to talk about that too, and how to make money in the buy, because that's what we keep talking about, and that's where the whole concept of buying distressed comes in. Okay, and strategy overview, because we mentioned a lot about the different strategies that fall under the different buckets within the wheel of wealth, like Wheel of Fortune. Well, a lot of us call it the Circle of Wealth. However, I kind of want to rename it as the Wheel of Wealth, because the whole idea behind all of this is that all of us, all we want to do is leveraging real estate as one of the most, if not the best, investment vehicle, in my personal opinion, to create a smooth financial path moving forward. And so that's why I want to call it the Wheel of Wealth personally. However, I will definitely take time to go through a high level overview of each strategy. I mean, 15 minutes every single day, I'll do what I can. Okay, I don't want to overwhelm everybody. However, I can go as deep as you're going to do, including walking you through the entire theory behind every strategy and giving you examples and multiple examples in different markets and different countries, if that's what you want. So if that's what you want, give me a like, send me a comment, send me a message. So many of you are so shy to actually just comment on the videos. That's funny. So I'm not complaining because I love getting the messages from you guys. A lot of you know that I'm not super active on Messenger. However, usually after I do my daily dose, I will check my Messenger just in case that you did send me a message, so that I can start to capture all your questions and your requests. And a lot of you guys want me to go into more of the lingos, and that's kind of where the common terms come in. So we'll go through the glossaries, and then we can go a little deeper in terms of covering what's net operating income, what is cap rate, all these kind of things. And the thing is, it's not just about the definition. Honestly, it's not about the definition. It's about truly understanding what those numbers stand for, and more importantly, what they mean to you. Okay? And so, speaking of which, today I really want to just focus on one main concept. And a lot of you guys have already heard me say this. And once again, if I start to sound like a broken record, that's only because not only myself and my business partners have had to constantly reiterate some of these very basic mindset for ourselves, or just understanding in terms of what it is to be financially savvy and literate. Honestly, there's no other no other way to really put it, is the fact that so many people, especially people that I've worked with over the last few years, so many people make this one mistake. And that mistake is the lack of clarity. The lack of clarity. I'm not gonna lie, I still go through that from time to time, especially when I work with my personal coach as well, because I still have coaches, I still have mentors that help me in various areas of my life. And a lot of the times, We get into that mode where we complain when something's not going right or something's not going as planned. And all of a sudden, they turn around and they just ask you, so what do you want? And I find myself so many times I'm actually not able to answer that question. And that's the funny thing when it comes to money and building a secured financial future for everybody. And I've noticed that just happens so much as well. And so I really want to dive deeper into that certain topic is first thing first, you have to understand the main difference between financial independence versus financial freedom. And the funny thing is, 10 years ago, I was sold based on the fact that I want to achieve financial freedom. And that was actually every bit as true as it is today. And obviously, we reached that already. We just continue to build upon it. However, the point is, over the last few years, ever since I started to get the chance to coach and mentor others, I realized not everybody really gives a rat's butt about reaching financial freedom, because I've worked with anybody that's anywhere between 17 all the way to 63 right now. I welcome a different range or a bigger range too at some point. The point is, though, you got to understand truly what you're looking for. And this is something that, as long as you can kind of understand the definition between the two, I think it'll be good. Because a 17-year-old versus a 63-year-old, when I'm working with them, okay, first thing first, do you think what they're looking for is the same? Usually not. And I'm going to say pretty much definitely not. And the other thing is, do you think their access to resources will be the same? I don't think so. Unfortunately, sometimes, alarmingly, yes. However, for the most part, people that tend to be slightly older or have more life experiences, they tend to have different access or more access, I'm just going to say that, to resources to help them build the portfolio that they want a little faster. However, I've also had people telling me that, I'm sorry, my arm's a little weird today. So I have also had people that tell me that, hey, you know what, I'm in my 50s and 60s and I don't have as much time as somebody that's in their 20s. So what strategy should I be doing to really get me to the goal that I want to? And so this is the point that I really, really want to stress, is really be clear about your goal. And when I say goal, the first few things that should come to mind is, okay, let's think about the general umbrella terms that most people are aware of, right? So the first thing is retirement. So retirement, what are you looking for? A very fancy retirement lifestyle? Are you looking to just secure your retirement? And if so, what is the number behind that? And so by number, I mean, what do you need on a monthly basis, or what do you need on an annual basis in order for you to actually turn that into a reality in terms of what you want? And I also have students that come in and say, hey, you know what? It's a couple, and even though they have kids, it's a couple that have been in their career for 20 plus years now, and they both done very well in their with their careers and their jobs. As a result, financially speaking, they're actually doing pretty well. And so all they really want is to make sure that either they leave a legacy for their kids, or meaning that they want to demonstrate to their kids now, hey, you know what, your generation is a little different than ours. We worked really hard and we did somewhat okay financially. However, we understand that the world that you're growing up in and the job markets that you're going to be exposed in are going to be very different, especially again with the impact of COVID. Nobody can predict what's going to happen in terms of our economy and how people are going to be earning money. And even now, I've heard this so many times. Students that are graduating high schools and they go into universities, by the time they graduate university 4 years from now, 5 years from now, or 6 years from now, because some of them do co-ops or they have different semester settings, what they learned during year 1 or year 2 are no longer applicable, and also there might be new jobs that are created by the time they graduate that were not there when they first entered. And so a lot of these families or parents in their 40s, they basically just want to make sure that their kids are taken care of, and if for nothing else, they get to accumulate more assets rather than their RSPs and savings accounts so that they have something more to pass down. However, the true financially savvy parents usually will bring their kids along the way as well. Okay. Hey Daniel, Singapore. Wow, that's really cool. So thanks for joining me. And that's a country that I actually haven't talked about yet. And so it just really depends on what you're looking for. Or again, in that kind of scenario, I've also had a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, you know what? We're actually fairly comfortable. We've done fairly well. However, what we're really looking for is maybe take better vacations or maybe support a couple of family members, or we have aging parents that we have to probably sponsor or help out financially or even physically. So what that really means is, hey, you know what? We've pretty much outgrown the space that we're in. We need to be able to upgrade the size of our house, for example, so that our aging parents can move in, and maybe you can even afford to hire help. One of the reasons may be, okay, you got to remember the biggest mistake is that most people are not clear. And so that really comes down to really understanding what is it that you're looking for. Is it financial independence or is it financial freedom? Because financial freedom, by definition, is that you can basically tell your bosses to go pound sand and you don't have to show up for work and all your basic expenses will be covered. And that's pretty much it. It's a lot of the times it doesn't quite give you everything else that you are looking for. And this is why the way I personally look at it is that even when it comes to financial freedom, there are three different levels. The first one, as we just spoke about, is by definition, your monthly cash flow or passive income needs to cover at least all of your basic expenses. What that means is that you no longer need to stress over having to get up in the morning, go and deal with the commute, having to show up and work 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours a week and deal with politics and stresses. Your bills will be covered, okay? However, financial freedom number two, as some of you guys are aware of, is what I call the job replacement figure, okay? Because our jobs or our just over brokes pay us enough so that we get our basic bills covered and then a little bit more to have a bit of a lifestyle. So that's what allows us to go out and have parties, have fun, to go eat out, go to movies with our family and friends, maybe even travel, all that kind of stuff. And then the last number that I usually talk about is what I would call, in a very PC way, the do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want number when it comes to financial freedom. Okay? And so honestly though, for most people, I don't know if anybody will truly declare that they're in the financial freedom 3 zone. I've sort of been in and out personally a few times myself. However, whenever I feel a little content, and I always kind of pull myself back and go, hey, you know what? Are there other projects that I can take on to maybe create a better contribution to the world? And here I am, and here we are. And so hopefully you are getting lots out of this. However, going back to financial independence, and that is really the mission statement when it comes to financial wellness, when we establish Trust Your Talent as well, is the concept of really empowering people and elevating the general public's financial education and financial literacy. Because one of the most empowering moments that I personally had in the last few years myself, actually, a long time ago now. However, I've had a lot of students echo that with me. Is the fact that all of a sudden they wake up one day and they go, you know what? Even though I'm not 100% financially free yet, I already know that based on everything that I've learned so far, I can comfortably walk away from my job and I would know exactly how to replace my working income and then some. Or I know exactly how to give myself a raise. Or if I need to make an additional $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, $500,000 a year, I know exactly how to do it without having to rely on anybody else at this point. And to me, that is financial independence. And that really hit me in the year of 2012 when I declared financial freedom. However, it was really that concept that, oh my goodness, I don't have to rely on anybody to create income anymore. And so that is really what I'm truly passionate about helping people achieve. And so Biggest mistake that most people make is the lack of clarity. And if you need to speak to somebody else, I'm open to it, okay, about what it is that you're really looking for to help you gain that clarity, because it's only when you know what you want, then you can actually make plans to get there, okay? So that is all I want to leave you guys with today. The difference between financial independence versus financial freedom and truly understanding what you want financially. So, as you know, every single day, I'm coming to you Monday to Friday during the week at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And at the beginning of the video today, I've already covered the fact that a lot of you have suggested topics, and it's looking like my 1 week attempt from last week is probably going to turn into like a 5-6 week kind of thing now, depending on many um, how many how many topics that keep coming up, and I feel like we keep on getting spin-offs as well, and I'm totally okay with that, because this is really all I want to push out there for everybody, is for you to have a platform to ask your questions, to have them answered, to help you gain clarity, to help you gain strategies, to gain the mindset that's required, and maybe even some skills, and maybe even some directions and suggestions. Whatever it is that you need, make sure you comment, you like, and more importantly, share this with the people in your life that you think can slowly learn from this. Because the long-term vision, really, I do believe, is that Trust Your Talent should be a household name when it comes to financial education, because that's why we designed that platform. So that's it. I'm gonna leave you guys for now. I will see you tomorrow. Live well, everybody. Have a great evening.